This is part 2 of the practice test for CSCI201, and we're on the content part. You load the font into the font variable. Let's go down to load content down here. And the name of the variable is font, and we want to do content.load. It's going to be a sprite font, and the name of it is going to be font, with quotation marks. And that is this file over here that I'm referring to. Okay. Next, I want to load the splash picture into the splash texture, splash screen texture variable. So I got to do content.load. And the name of that is splash. And that is this file over here. And I'm not sure how my cursor got moved there. I'm just going to take this and drag it down with the other load content instruction down here. And now we're on the third thing under content. We want to set the splash screen rectangle to 0, 0, 800, 480. So that needs to be done up here. So splash screen rectangle equals new rectangle, and it's going to be 0, 0, 800, 480, which is the entire screen. Okay. And then we want to load the Darth picture into the texture field of the Darth variable. So down here, Darth dot texture equals content dot load, and we are loading a texture 2D. And the name of the variable is, not the variable, the name of the picture is Darth, and I got that from right up here. Then I want to initialize Darth's fields, and it looks like I can do those, don't need to do those in load content, and so let's put that up in initialize where it probably belongs. So name of the variable is Darth dot position equals new, and that's a vector, and it's going to be 400, 200, 240 rather. So that would be the middle of the screen, over halfway and down halfway. Darth dot source rectangle equals new rectangle, and it's going to be 0, 0, 100, 100. Darth color white. Darth dot rotation 0. Dot origin equals new vector 2, 50, 50. The picture is 100 by 100. So that'll take us right to the middle of it, which is where you usually want it. Darth dot scale equals 1, so it'll be the exact same size that it is in the file. We're not going to be adjusting it at all. And Darth dot effect equals sprite effects dot none, so we'll be drawing it exactly as it looks in the file. And Darth dot layer depth equals 0. Okay. Then load the ta-da sound wave into the ta-da sound effect variable. So let's go down here, and ta-da sound effect equals content. Let's try that again. Content dot load, and it's going to be a sound effect is going to be the type, and the name of the file is going to be ta-da. Then use the tada sound effect variable to create a sound effect instance and store it in the sound effect instance variable. So that's easy. Just tada sound effect instance equals new tada, I'm sorry, equals, not new, tada sound effect dot create instance, and a pair of parentheses on the end because that's the name of a method. And then I want to write the code in load contents, set the value of each picture in the Luke array to the Luke ping file. Okay, so there's 10 of them, so let's do a for loop. And what I want to do is I want Luke, and I got to say which one. It's an array, so I is going to be my subscript. So first time I'll be on Luke sub 0, Luke sub 1, all the way up to Luke sub 9. So I'll get all 10 of them. And I'm going to do a content dot load, and it's a texture 2D, and the name of it is Luke. And Luke is that file right there. And that takes us to the bottom of the first page of instructions, and then we have some things to do with state variable. So on page 2, at the beginning of the program, the game state should be in the splash screen state. And have we already done that or not? Game state, yes, we've done this right here. So when in the splash screen state, if the user presses the start button, the program must change to the playing state. This can only happen when the start button is down on the current tick and was up on the previous tick. So let's see if we have some variables up here for our I'm looking for something for my keyboard. And I'm sorry, not the keyboard, it's a button. So it's the start button, not a key. So we're going to look at the gamepad state, and we need the current one and the previous one. So this is going to happen in update. And let me see what I did wrong here. It is Luke sub I dot texture. Okay, Luke is not a texture variable. If I go back up here and check, Luke is a sprite struct. And a sprite struct has all of these fields, and so I have to say which one, and the texture field is the one that I want. Okay, so now we can go down to update. And in update, I've already got the code here for reading the gamepad and then saving it in the previous gamepad variable at the end. And I want to check to see if the start button has been pressed on this tick. And this is probably a good place to use a Boolean variable. So I'm going to call it start button pressed equals, and then I want to know that the gamepad dot buttons dot start equals button state dot pressed, and on the previous tick it'd be previous gamepad dot buttons dot start equals button state dot released, and no parentheses there. So that's going to be true or false. And so what I want to do is I want to go to the playing state if I'm currently in. So if my game state is currently equal to splash, and the start button was pressed, then what I want to do is I want to go to the playing state. So set game state variable equal to game state dot playing. Okay. And when I'm in the playing state, if the user presses the back button, then we go to the game over state. So if game state, and you know what, let's do a Boolean variable for the back button pressed. the gamepad currently dot back, and I want it to be pressed, and on the previous tick it needs to be released. Okay, so that looks just like it did for the start button, except we're looking at, instead of the start button up here, we're looking at the back button down here. Okay, so now if that happens and I'm in the game state dot playing, and let's finish that off, and the back button was pressed, then the game state equals, that should be lowercase g, game state, try it again, equals game state dot game over. Now everything below this, on the bottom 2/3 or so of page 2 is supposed to be in the update method. So, and it's supposed to be only when I am in the playing state. Okay, so if game state, darn it, lowercase g, if I'm in the playing state, then I want to do all this stuff. And the first thing is I want, if the player pushes the left thumbstick to the left, I want to move the picture of Darth to the left. Okay, so if gamepad dot buttons dot, it's not buttons, it's thumbsticks dot left dot x is less than 0, that means it's been pushed to the left. Then I want to take Darth dot position dot x 1 pixel, so just do minus minus. Just keep trying until we get it right. Okay. If they pushed it to the right, we want to go 1 pixel to the right. So if gamepad dot thumbsticks dot left dot x is greater than 0, then they've pushed it to the right, and I want to move Darth to the right. Darth dot position dot x plus plus. Okay. If they push the thumbstick up, I want to move him up 1 position. So if gamepad dot thumbsticks dot left dot y is pushing it up, would be greater than 0. And if that's the case, then Darth dot position dot y, when I move up on the y, I've got to subtract because 0 is at the top, so y minus minus. And I'm guessing the fourth command there in our problem description is to change the position of Darth Vader if left thumbstick is pushed down. So if gamepad dot thumbsticks dot left dot y is less than 0, then Darth dot position dot y plus plus. And we've been on this video for quite a while, so we'll stop there and we'll pick up with the third video.